Welcome to today's transformation dive into securing your financial future and unlocking your full potential. If you've ever felt like your money has a mind of its own, or that success is always just out of reach, you're in the right place. We're not just talking about budgeting here. We're talking about rewiring your relationship with money and with yourself. Before we jump into the depths, if you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think. Also, drop a comment with where you're watching from or your biggest money habit win. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. You open your banking app and flinch. It's okay, you can admit it. You've been avoiding it for a few days, maybe even a week. There's that familiar knot in your stomach because you already know, vaguely, that things aren't quite adding up. Money comes in, yes, you see the deposit land, maybe even feel a brief swell of relief. But then it evaporates. Like water through a sieve you didn't know had holes, the balance just seems to melt away. You see the big bills coming, rent, mortgage, car payment. Those are obvious and painful punches. But it's the other stuff, the mystery spending, the little dings and taps on your account that drain the balance faster than you expect, leaving you feeling perpetually behind, perpetually reactive to your money instead of proactive. You tell yourself it's just the high cost of living, or maybe that you just don't earn enough yet to get ahead. And sure, those factors definitely play a part in the bigger picture. But you also know, deep down, there's something else going on. Maybe it's the spontaneous online order that arrived yesterday, the fourth one this month. It wasn't needed, just wanted in the moment. Maybe it's the daily stop for the fancy coffee and a snack that somehow adds up to $50 a week. Enough for a decent grocery run, or even a small investment. Maybe it's the trio of subscriptions you forgot about for services you haven't used in months, like that fitness app you downloaded last January, or the streaming service with shows you don't actually watch. These aren't bad things in isolation. A single coffee isn't a financial disaster. One subscription won't bankrupt you. They're just happening to your money, not by your design. You feel like your finances are driving you, pushing you from one bill to the next, instead of the other way around. This feeling, this lack of control, this financial drift, it's arguably the most expensive feeling there is because it paralyzes action. Think about the last time you just ended up spending a significant chunk of change without a clear plan. Maybe it was an impulsive tech gadget that promised to change your life, but is now collecting dust. A night out that got unexpectedly expensive because why not? Or just a few weeks of seemingly innocent convenience purchases. Ordering takeout when you have food at home, grabbing snacks at the gas station, impulse buys at the checkout lane. You look back at your statement and think, seriously, where did it go? It's like trying to track calories without reading labels. You know you're eating, but you have no idea what or how much, so hitting your fitness goals feels impossible. Here's the surprising insight. The myth bust many people miss. The biggest drain on your finances for most individuals isn't usually one huge, catastrophic expense, unless there's a genuine emergency, which is a different scenario we can tackle later. It's the cumulative effect of small, unconscious, undirected spending decisions. We often hyper-focus on the major expenses, trying to cut a few bucks off the mortgage or utilities, while completely ignoring the constant drip, drip, drip from the dozens of small choices we make every week without thinking. You're not experiencing a sudden financial flood. You're letting your financial vitality flow out through 1,000 tiny, unnoticed holes. You're not leaking money. You're letting it flow out without checking the destination, without intentionality. This lack of awareness, this undirected flow, is the core concept we need to address first. You can't fix a leak you don't know exists, and you can't steer your money towards your goals if you don't know where it's currently going. It's a simple cause-effect. Unconscious spending causes financial drift, which causes stress and a feeling of being stuck. The surprising fact, just becoming aware of where your money is going is the single most powerful first step, often more impactful than any aggressive budget cut. Here's a clear personal action, a habit change that changed everything for me. For the next 72 hours, pause before any non-essential purchase, no matter how small. This isn't about saying no to everything. It's about creating a moment of consciousness. Ask yourself this simple question. Why am I buying this right now? Is it boredom? Convenience? To feel better? Just the act of asking creates awareness, shining a light on those unseen leaks. Try this for the next 3 days. See what you notice. The following is Section 2. Title: Money on Autopilot. So you've taken the first step by deciding to show up and engage with your money journey. But here's the often uncomfortable truth for most of us. We're running our financial lives on autopilot. Think about it like this. You get paid, the essential bills swoop in and take their cut. You spend on whatever seems necessary or appealing until the next payday rolls around. Great. Maybe that goes into savings or a fun purchase. If there isn't, well, there's always next month to hopefully do better, right? This isn't a deliberate strategy. It's the financial default mode. It's a path paved with habit, lit by convenience, and steered by a profound lack of conscious attention. You're not really making decisions. You're just reacting. The world, with its relentless marketing signals telling you what you need to be happy, dictates where your money should go. The path of least resistance, that easy online checkout, the nearest coffee shop on the morning commute, the subscription you forgot you had, tells you where to spend it effortlessly. And your own unconscious habits, built over years, guide the rest. It's less like driving with a map and GPS, and more like getting in your car, putting it in drive, and just rolling out of the driveway, hoping you end up somewhere good. Maybe you do, purely by blind luck. But more likely, you'll just circle the same few blocks, burn through your fuel, and end up right back where you started, feeling frustrated and wondering where all that energy, or in this case, money, went. Money works exactly the same way. Without a clear destination, without intentional input from you, it simply follows the path of least resistance, which, almost invariably, leads it straight into someone else's pocket, rarely towards your actual goals. Let's look at a classic, painfully relatable example. Imagine you get an unexpected financial boost, maybe a decent bonus at work, a PAX refund that's bigger than you thought, or even just a generous gift. What happens to that money? For many, and be honest with yourself here, it just seems to evaporate. It gets instantly absorbed into the general flow of day-to-day spending. You might treat yourself to a few extra dinners out, do some online shopping you wouldn't normally do, maybe finally buy that gadget you've been eyeing. You might feel a temporary rush, that treat myself high. But fast forward just a month or two, and if someone asked you exactly what you spent that bonus on, you'd probably struggle to recall the details. The money is gone, vanished into the financial ether, with no lasting impact on your savings, your debt, or your future security. It's just another symptom of the autopilot trap. The money came in, and without a conscious instruction, it just went out. Here's a surprising and, frankly, disempowering insight about this autopilot spending. It's not just inefficient or wasteful. It's actively undermining your sense of control and self-efficacy. Every single time money leaves your account without a conscious, deliberate decision behind it, whether it's an impulse buy, a forgotten subscription charge, or just where did that 20 go, you are, on a subtle level, reinforcing the feeling that you don't control your money. You're teaching your brain that money has a mind of its own, that it controls you. This unconscious belief system then feeds the cycle of anxiety, scarcity, and feeling powerless over your finances. It's like trying to lose weight while unconsciously snacking all day. The small, unnoticed actions completely sabotage the bigger goal. So, how do you start breaking free from this default mode? It begins with awareness and taking back just a tiny bit of control. Here's a clear personal action you can take right now, this week. Identify just one area where you know you spend mindlessly. We all have one. Maybe it's those impulse snacks and drinks you grab every time you're at the convenience store checkout. Is it those little in-app purchases or gaming microtransactions? Is it the default decision to grab fast food or expensive coffee instead of planning ahead? Pick one specific, recurring, mindless spending habit. Now, commit to cutting that one thing out completely for just 1 week. Don't replace it with something else. Just eliminate that specific money drain. See how it feels. Notice the moments you're tempted and what triggers them. What happens to that small amount of money you didn't spend? This one habit, even this small step, can start to change everything for you. It's the first conscious turn of the steering wheel away from the default path. Okay, so we've talked about how easy it is to just drift through your financial life on autopilot, letting momentum and old habits decide where your money goes. It's like driving without a map, just hoping you end up somewhere good. But there's an antidote to that financial autopilot, a powerful force that can completely change your trajectory. That force is intentionality. This is Section 3, and we're talking about the power of why, intentionality defined. What does it truly mean to be intentional with your money? It means making conscious, deliberate decisions about every dollar, every cent, every investment. It's not just spending or saving. It's spending on purpose, saving on purpose, investing on purpose. These decisions aren't random acts. They are aligned directly with your deepest values, your biggest goals, and your absolute priorities. Think about it. Intentionality isn't about putting yourself in a financial straitjacket just for the fun of it. It's about recognizing a fundamental truth. Everyone's resources are limited in some way. Time is limited. Energy is limited. And yes, money is limited. Whether you have $10 or 10 million, there are always trade-offs. Intentionality is about directing those limited resources with laser focus towards building the specific life you actually want, not just the one you end up with by default. It's pausing before any money moves, whether it's swiping a card or hitting transfer, and asking that critical question: why? Why am I spending, saving, investing this right now? Imagine you are the CEO of You Inc., your personal enterprise, your life. Your money isn't just loose change. It's the company's capital, the fuel for growth and survival. Would a competent CEO just let company funds drain away on random, unvetted expenses? Would they operate without a budget, without clear goals, without understanding the potential return on investment for every expenditure? Absolutely not. That would be corporate suicide. Being intentional with your money is stepping up to be the conscious, strategic, and responsible leader of your own financial life. It's running you Inc., like the valuable entity it is. Here's a relatable example we probably all deal with. Instead of just wandering the aisles at the grocery store and buying whatever looks good, guilty as charged sometimes. Intentionality looks like planning your meals for the week before you go. You make a list based on what you need for those specific meals. You're not just blindly spending money on food. You are intentionally allocating funds for your health, reducing food waste, which also saves money, and freeing up mental energy later because dinner is already sorted. Or consider receiving a bonus at work. The autopilot approach is for it to just evaporate into daily expenses or impulse buys. The intentional approach? Deciding in advance exactly where that money will go. Maybe 50% to aggressively pay down a high-interest debt, and 50% straight into an investment fund for future growth. It's about assigning every dollar a job before it arrives or is spent. Now, here's a surprising insight that often flips people's thinking. Intentionality often leads to more financial freedom, not less restriction. Many people fear that being intentional means saying no to everything fun, but by consciously cutting out spending you don't truly value, the impulse buys that bring fleeting joy, the subscriptions you don't use, the daily habits that drain your wallet without truly enriching your life, you free up significant amounts of money. Money that can then be directed towards things you do value deeply. Whether that's paying off debt years faster, saving for a down payment on a home that offers stability, funding the start of a business that fulfills your passion, or simply having guilt-free money set aside for a truly meaningful experience or a major purchase you've planned for. It gives you control and makes your money work for your goals. This isn't just theoretical, it's incredibly practical. This one habit of asking why and making conscious choices changed everything for me in how I view and handle money. It transformed it from a source of stress and confusion into a tool for building the life I envisioned. So, here is a clear personal action for you. Something concrete you can do today to start flexing that intentional muscle. Define one clear financial goal, no matter how small it seems. It could be saving $100 this month, paying off one specific small bill, or saving specifically for a book you want or a specific item you need. Make it tangible. Then, here's the key. Write it down. Putting it on paper or in your phone's notes makes it real and starts training your brain to be deliberate about where your money is going in pursuit of that goal. Don't skip this step. Write it down. Section 4 Script. Earn Flow Zone. All right, let's get real about step number 4 in this transformation journey, because this one is foundational, maybe even a little scary for some. Tracking, shining a light on reality. You see, you absolutely cannot be intentional with money you don't truly understand. Period. The absolute first step to gaining control, to shifting from cruising on financial autopilot to taking the wheel with intention, is seeing where your money actually goes. This means tracking. And I know, the word itself can feel heavy. It sounds tedious, maybe even downright painful. It feels like being forced to stare at something you'd honestly rather ignore, like checking your weight after a holiday binge or looking at your screen time report on Sunday night. There's this mental block because we think we know where our money goes, right? Oh, it's mostly rent and groceries. But intuition is a terrible CFO. You cannot navigate in the dark, hoping you'll just magically end up at your destination. You need the map, and tracking is how you draw it. Think of tracking not as a form of financial judgment, but as pure data collection. You are gathering intelligence on your own habits. It's like putting on night vision goggles in a dark room. Suddenly, you see everything. You might discover you're spending more on grabbing lunch out every day than your entire monthly grocery bill. Or that those 3 streaming services you barely use for background noise are stealthily costing you over $100 a month. Maybe it's the daily coffee habit that adds up faster than a speeding ticket. This isn't about making you feel bad or guilty. It's about giving you the cold, hard facts so you have the power to choose differently if you want to. It's like looking at the ingredients list. You might not like what you see, but now you know what you're consuming, financially speaking. Let's look at a common scenario. I knew someone, let's call her Sarah. Sarah thought she was pretty good with money overall, maybe just struggled with some impulse buys here and there. She felt like her money was just disappearing. When she finally committed to tracking every single expense for a month, yes, the $3 coffee, the $12 lunch, the $5 vending machine snack, the results were eye-opening. She found she was spending upwards of $400 just on these various quick-hit convenience foods and drinks every single month. $400. That was enough to make her minimum student loan payment and have money left over, or fully fund a Roth IRA contribution for that month. It wasn't the big things derailing her. It was the cumulative effect of the small things she wasn't even noticing. Tracking shined a light directly on her reality, showing her exactly where the flow was going. And here's a surprising insight that trips a lot of people up. Tracking isn't just some beginner finance move. It's not like training wheels you ditch once you're good with money. Even high earners benefit immensely, maybe even more, because lifestyle creep is incredibly real and incredibly sneaky. More money often just means more expensive autopilot habits, unless you are acutely intentional. Knowing where your money flows, consciously, at any income level, is foundational. It's not about being broke. It's about being deliberate with your resources. This one habit changed everything for me. Shifting from guessing to knowing, from feeling powerless to feeling informed. So here is your clear personal action, and I want you to try this for a week. Download a tracking app, something simple like Mint, Personal Capital, Rocket Money, or even just a basic spreadsheet app like Google Sheets on your phone. Go old school and grab a small notebook you can keep in your pocket or purse. For the next 7 days, simply record every single expense. Every coffee, every grocery trip, every bill payment, every subscription charge. Don't try to budget yet, don't judge yourself, just track. Your only job is to collect the data. Ask yourself, what's stopping you from seeing your financial reality clearly? Let's start by just flipping on the light switch. Okay, so you've seen where your money is going. You've done the tracking, maybe for a few days, maybe a full week. You've pulled back the curtain and seen the real-world flow of your cash. That was the first crucial step to financial awareness. But awareness alone isn't enough to change your trajectory. Now, we take control. This is where the budget comes in, your intentional roadmap. Forget everything you think you know about budgeting being this financial straitjacket designed to make you miserable and deny you all joy. Seriously, let's kill that myth right now. A budget is not about deprivation. It's about deliberation. It's a plan. Think of yourself as the CEO of your own financial life. The budget is your strategic allocation document. It's where you decide, with intention, exactly where you want your capital to flow. This is the critical shift. Instead of money hitting your bank account and just being available for whatever spontaneous whim pops into your head, oh look, shiny thing, you give every single dollar a job before you spend it. It's like assigning roles in a game before the level starts. This much goes to keeping the lights on, bills. This much is actively working towards your future, saving, investing. This much is chipping away at past decisions, debt. And yes, this much is for guilt-free fun. Your reward, your decompression, the stuff that makes life enjoyable now. You are consciously directing the flow, making your money work for you, towards your goals. It's an active role, not a passive one. Many people trip up with budgeting because they aim for impossible perfection on day one. They try to make it fit some rigid template instead of reflecting their actual spending habits first, which is why tracking was step one. Or they approach it purely as a tool for restriction. I can't buy this. I can't do that. That's like trying to get fit by only saying no to cake and doing no exercise. It's only half the picture. A successful budget isn't just about cutting. It's about prioritization. It's saying yes to the things that truly matter to you and your future, which often means saying no to things that don't. It needs flexibility because life happens. And crucial insight here, it absolutely must include money for enjoyment. Otherwise, it's unsustainable. Let's look at Mark. Before budgeting, his money routine was simple. Paycheck came in, pay bills, spend whatever was left. He often felt broke days before the next payday, wondering where it all went. Sound familiar? When he started budgeting, everything changed. He allocated specific amounts based on his tracking. X amount for the emergency fund he desperately needed. Y amount for crushing that credit card debt. Z amount into an investment account. And crucially, a defined fun money category. He wasn't magically richer overnight, but he felt richer because his money had purpose. It was aligned with his values and goals, giving him a profound sense of control he'd never experienced before. The surprising insight is this: your budget is a living document, not a stone tablet. It should evolve as your life and goals do. And its power comes from giving your money purpose, not just limits. It's your permission slip to spend on planned enjoyment and your strategy guide for building wealth. Based on your tracking, even if you only managed 3 to 7 days, you have a starting point. You know roughly what goes where. Here's your action step. Try this for a month. Create a simple budget for one category. Maybe it's groceries, or entertainment, or transport. Look at what you spent based on tracking. Decide what you want to spend next month, and give that money a limit and a clear purpose within your overall flow. This one habit starts redirecting your financial energy consciously. Now that we've talked about understanding where your money goes, let's shift gears from tracking the flow to directing it with intention. See, intentionality isn't just about finding places to cut costs, squeezing every last penny like you're trying to get the final bit of toothpaste out of the tube. It's fundamentally about making sure your spending aligns with what truly, deeply matters to you. Think of your financial resources not just as dollars, but as finite energy. Every dollar you spend is a unit of that energy. Are you directing that precious energy towards things that genuinely build the life you envision? Or are you just letting it get siphoned away by financial noise and fleeting distraction? This requires a bit of soul-searching, a personal audit beyond the numbers. What do you value at your core? Is it the security of a safety net? The freedom to make spontaneous choices? Experiences that build lasting memories? The well-being of your family? Or maybe continuous personal growth and learning? Your spending should be a powerful, tangible reflection of these values. If health is paramount, your budget should naturally allocate funds towards nourishing food, perhaps a gym membership, or even prioritizing rest and recovery. If experiences light you up, you might consciously choose to spend less on material possessions, to save aggressively for travel or unique adventures. If security is your anchor, then prioritizing saving and investing becomes non-negotiable. When your spending habits are out of sync with your core values, you inevitably feel that subtle, or sometimes not so subtle, financial anxiety. Why? Because your money isn't actually supporting your authentic self or the life you claim to want. It's like trying to row upstream. You're putting in effort, but feeling frustrated because you're not moving towards your desired destination. Take Sarah and Mike, for example. They had a good combined income, the kind many people dream of, but they constantly felt financially stretched and unsure where their money went. They were spending heavily on keeping up appearances, designer clothes they didn't love, eating out at fancy restaurants multiple times a week, and impulse shopping whenever they felt bored or stressed. They sat down one evening, feeling that familiar financial unease, and realized what they truly valued wasn't external validation or temporary pleasure. It was quality time together and building a secure future. This realization was a game changer. They intentionally cut back on that external, value-misaligned spending and redirected that exact same money towards saving for a house down payment and planning simple, value-aligned activities they both genuinely enjoyed, like weekend hiking trips and cooking together at home. Their bank accounts started growing, but more importantly, their sense of peace and fulfillment did too. Here's the really surprising insight, something that flies in the face of consumer culture. Often, the things we spend the most money on are paradoxically not the things that bring us the deepest, most lasting satisfaction. We're conditioned to chase convenience, status symbols, or temporary hits of dopamine from a purchase, while we neglect to invest our financial energy in areas that truly align with our core values and contribute to our long-term well-being and happiness. It's like filling up on financial junk food instead of nutritious fuel. The short-term hit is real, but it leaves you feeling empty and unsatisfied in the long run. So, here's a clear, powerful personal action for you right now. Write down your top 3 core values. Get specific. Then, take an honest look at your spending data from the last month. This is where tracking, which we discussed earlier, becomes invaluable. Ask yourself, does your spending over the last 30 days truly reflect these core values? Be brutally honest, without judgment. Now, identify just one specific area where you could shift your spending, even slightly, to better align with one of your core values. This one habit, consciously directing your financial energy, can start to change everything for you. Okay, we've talked about getting your money mindset right, creating intentional spending habits, and setting those crucial financial goals. Now, let's flip the coin, shall we? Because intentionality doesn't stop once money hits your account or when you decide where it goes. It applies just as much, maybe even more, to how you earn that money in the first place. This is intentional earning, beyond the paycheck. Think about it. Are you earning intentionally? Is your primary work, your side hustle, or even your business efforts truly aligned with your deeper skills, your long-term goals, and your core values? Or are you just like a hamster on a wheel, chasing the highest possible dollar without ever stopping to consider the real cost? I'm talking about the cost to your time, your energy, your well-being, and ultimately, your happiness. Intentional earning isn't about passively receiving a deposit. It's about actively, strategically directing your most valuable assets, your energy, your skills, your time, towards generating income in a way that serves your life, not just funds it. This looks different for everyone, right? If you're just starting out, maybe you're a beginner navigating the professional world. For you, intentional earning might mean intentionally seeking out opportunities to learn and master skills that are in high demand, skills that naturally lead to higher earning potential over time. You're planting seeds for future financial harvest. For someone in the middle of their career journey, a mid-earner perhaps, intentional earning could manifest as intentionally preparing for and negotiating a significant salary increase. Or perhaps it's intentionally seeking out a role with a better work-life balance that protects your energy, or intentionally moving into a position with clear growth potential, even if the initial pay bump is modest. It's about optimizing your current situation. And for the ambitious builder, the entrepreneur, the business owner, intentional earning means rigorously and intentionally directing business efforts towards the most profitable, the most impactful, and the most scalable activities. It's not just about staying busy, it's about staying strategic and focusing on the activities that move the needle furthest. It's like being a master chef, intentionally choosing the ingredients that will make the dish spectacular, not just tossing in whatever is closest. Let me share a relatable example I see all the time. There's John, who felt completely stuck. He was in this dead-end job, honestly, just for the stable paycheck. He felt drained, uninspired, and couldn't see a way out. But then he had this realization about intentionality in earning. He intentionally started carving out just 1 hour each night, not for scrolling mindlessly, but for learning coding skills, something he was genuinely interested in. It wasn't instant magic, took patience. After about a year of consistently directing that earning intention and effort, he intentionally started seeking out a new role, specifically in the tech industry. The outcome? Not only a significant income jump that blew his old salary out of the water, but also finding work that was genuinely more fulfilling, more aligned with his interests. That's the power of intentional earning in action. Now here's something many people totally underestimate, and honestly, it's a bit of a surprising insight. People tend to separate earning and spending into two completely unrelated silos, like church and state. But they are profoundly, deeply connected. How you earn money, the stress of the job, the hours it demands, the people you interact with, the alignment or misalignment with your values, affects your mindset around money. It impacts your time availability, your energy levels. Think about it. A soul-crushing job might leave you so drained you resort to impulse spending just for a quick hit of dopamine. Or you might justify lavish purchases because you feel you earned it through suffering. These aren't isolated incidents. They are direct consequences of how you earn. Your earning method directly impacts your capacity to be intentional with your spending and saving. It's a full-circle feedback loop. So let's bring this back to you. Right now, reflect on your primary source of income. Are you truly earning intentionally? Are your efforts aligned with where you want your life, not just your bank account, to go? This one habit, this shift in perspective about earning, has changed everything for so many people I've coached. It's not just about working harder, it's about working smarter and more aligned. Ask yourself, what's one small, actionable step you could take this week to make your earning efforts just a little more aligned or strategic? Could it be dedicating 30 minutes to learn a new skill you're interested in? Maybe researching a potential promotion opportunity within your current company. Or perhaps simply outlining a very basic plan for that side hustle idea that keeps nagging at you? Just one small step. Think about it and commit to taking it this week. All right, so we've talked about understanding where your money goes and how your current habits might be holding you back. But let's shift gears from just managing what you have to actively directing it towards a future you actually want to build. Because honestly, saving money without a clear purpose, it feels like deprivation. It's like trying to diet by just randomly skipping meals. Confusing, frustrating, and rarely sustainable. You're just saying no to things without knowing why you're saying yes to something else. And investing? If you're just throwing money at whatever stock your cousin Gary recommended at Thanksgiving, or buying crypto because the internet told you to, that feels less like investing and more like playing roulette in a really uncomfortable casino. It's gambling with your future because there's no guiding intention behind it. This is where intentional saving and investing change the game entirely. They aren't about restriction, they're about direction. You're not just accumulating dollars, you're assigning them specific missions for your future self. Think of your emergency fund not as money I can't touch, but as your peace of mind protector or opportunity catcher. Your retirement account isn't just a number going up slowly. It's your future freedom fund, buying you time and options later. Saving for a down payment? That's your future home foundation. Investing in that course or starting that side hustle? That's investing in your future earning superpower. Every single dollar you intentionally save or invest isn't just sitting idly by like a lazy couch potato. It's being sent out on a mission. It's working tirelessly, compoundingly, towards the future you've designed. This mental shift is everything. Saving transforms from a chore you dread into an act of powerful self-empowerment, like leveling up in a video game, where each coin collected has a clear purpose. Investing evolves from a scary gamble into a strategic move on your personal financial chessboard. Consider Maria, a common story. She used to save whatever was left over at the end of the month, which, spoiler alert, was usually zip. She felt this constant hum of guilt about not having savings. It was abstract, aimless saving, and it never happened. Then she got intentional. She set one small, achievable goal: save $1,000 for a solid emergency fund within 6 months. She named it the "Oh Crap" Shield. The first step? Right after payday, she automated a small transfer directly into a separate savings account. She gave that money a job immediately. Reaching that small, intentional goal didn't just give her $1,000. It built incredible momentum and confidence. She proved to herself she could do it when she gave her money a mission. And here's a surprising insight that challenges what many people think. The amount you save or invest, especially when you're just starting out or trying to build consistency, is often far less important than the consistency and, crucially, the intentionality behind it. Seriously, Trying to save a random $500 here and there when you feel guilty or flush is way less effective in the long run than consistently saving an intentional $50 a month directed towards a clear, exciting goal. That $50 a month knows exactly what it's doing. The $500 saved randomly is just floating. This one habit changed everything for me, giving every saved or invested dollar a name, a purpose, a mission. Ready to put this into action? Here's your clear personal step. Name one saving or investing goal. Make it specific. It could be something small and motivating, like $100 for that new gadget you want without debt, or $500 to kickstart your emergency fund, or go big, a down payment chunk, a specific investment portfolio target. Name it, give it a mission. Then commit to automating a small transfer towards that specific goal immediately after your very next paycheck hits. Even if it's just $10 or $20, give that money a job before it even thinks about sitting in your checking account getting distracted. Now let's tackle a monster that haunts many people's financial lives: debt. Specifically, debt. Tackling it intentionally. For so many of us, debt feels less like a tool we used and more like a heavy, unmanageable burden draped over our shoulders. It can feel like you're constantly swimming upstream, making payments, but never really getting anywhere. The description nailed it. Approaching debt intentionally means you're not burying your head in the sand. You're facing it head-on and crafting a deliberate, actionable plan to shrink it, manage it, and eventually, ideally, eliminate it. Think about it. Unintentional debt accumulation often feels like it just happened. One minute, you're swiping the card. The next, you're staring at a balance that makes your eyes water. That's the result of living on autopilot, where spending effortlessly outpaces income without a second thought about the future cost. It's like driving without a map, just hoping you end up somewhere good, but usually just circling the same block of minimum payments and mounting interest. But intentional debt management, that's totally different. That's you deciding exactly how you will use your precious financial resources to tackle this beast strategically. This isn't about luck, it's about leverage. It could mean picking a specific payoff method, like the famous debt snowball, paying smallest balance first for psychological wins, or the debt avalanche, paying highest interest rate first to save the most money mathematically. It could mean allocating a specific, non-negotiable chunk of your income only to debt repayment, treating it like the most important bill you have. Or, yes, it could even mean intentionally taking on good debt, like for a valuable education that will boost your earning potential, or perhaps an investment property with a clear plan for its return and how you'll service the debt. But always with a clear, calculated strategy behind it. Unintentional debt is a passenger you didn't mean to pick up. Intentional debt, when used wisely, is a calculated co-pilot helping you reach a destination. Look at David's situation. He had credit card debt that felt overwhelming, just making those minimum payments, watching the interest add insult to injury. It was demoralizing, like being stuck on a financial treadmill going nowhere. Then he shifted to intentionality. He stopped guessing and started tracking. He listed every card, every balance, every interest rate. He saw the numbers clearly, chose the avalanche method because he wanted to save on interest long-term, and made a conscious, intentional decision to cut his restaurant spending, something that felt like a small sacrifice but freed up a significant amount. That extra $300 a month wasn't just random cash. It was fuel directed specifically towards his highest interest card. And guess what? It felt empowering. It felt like he was finally in the driver's seat. Here's something surprising, and maybe a bit counterintuitive if you only think of money as numbers. Paying off debt isn't just mathematical. It is profoundly psychological. Intentionally directing money towards debt payoff isn't just reducing a balance. It's rebuilding your sense of control over your own future. It's actively choosing freedom over obligation. This deliberate action reduces the constant, nagging anxiety that debt can cause, freeing up mental energy that was previously consumed by worry and the sheer burden of interest. It's a powerful mental shift from passive victim of debt to active conqueror of debt. The cause and effect is clear. Intentional action reduces debt, which reduces stress, which frees up mental space for growth. So, what's your action step right now? Let's make this intentional. Try this today. List all your non-mortgage debts. Get real. Write down the creditor, the current balance, and the interest rate for each one. This simple act of listing is the first step in taking control. Then, look at that list and choose one debt to intentionally focus on first, based on the method you might choose, avalanche or snowball. Finally, calculate how much extra you could intentionally put towards it this month by making one conscious decision to cut back on a non-essential spending category, like David did with restaurants. This one habit changed everything for me. Simply seeing my debt laid out, choosing my target, and finding even a small amount of intentional money to throw at it. It's the beginning of your intentional debt demolition plan. All right, let's dive into Section 10, building on the foundation we've laid for intentional finance and growth. Life, as they say, happens. You're cruising along, feeling good about your budget, maybe even seeing that savings account tick up. Then, bam, the car decides it needs a new transmission. The dog eats something questionable and needs an emergency vet visit. Or maybe something bigger, like an unexpected job loss, enters the picture. These aren't just random annoyances. In the world of your personal finances, these moments are significant tests of your financial resilience. They are the pop quizzes you didn't study for, hitting when you least expect them. People often underestimate how crucial how they handle these financial curveballs is to their long-term success. The default reaction for many is panic. You might feel a surge of stress, maybe a temptation to ignore the problem entirely, or perhaps worst of all, fall into autopilot spending, reaching for that credit card without thinking, digging the hole deeper just to feel like you're doing something. But here's where the power of intentionality, the muscle we've been building, truly shines. Approaching these inevitable setbacks intentionally means you have a plan or at least a process for how you will react, rather than letting fear or habit take the wheel. Think about it. If you've spent time directing your money, consciously deciding where it goes, you're already exercising that part of your brain. When a crisis hits, you don't just freeze up like a deer in headlights. You engage your strategic mind. An intentional approach during a setback involves a few key steps. First, assessing the situation calmly. Deep breaths are allowed, maybe even encouraged. What exactly is the cost? What resources do you have? Second, you leverage the intentional savings you've built, specifically that emergency fund. This isn't just a random pot of money. It's your "oh shit" fund, designed for precisely these moments. It's like your financial parachute. Third, you consciously adjust your budget, creating a temporary crisis budget, focused only on essentials and addressing the setback cost. This is where the flexibility you've built by understanding your spending becomes invaluable. Finally, you make conscious, deliberate decisions about how to navigate the challenge, exploring all options before jumping to the most expensive or damaging ones. Here's the surprising insight that might change your perspective. How you handle financial setbacks is more indicative of your long-term financial success than avoiding them entirely. Avoiding setbacks is impossible over a lifetime. You will face them, but intentionality transforms a potential financial derailment into a temporary, manageable detour. It's the difference between crashing and burning and navigating around a roadblock with a slightly revised route. Sarah, who lost her job, could have crumbled. Instead, she intentionally activated her emergency fund. The intentional savings she'd done immediately cut non-essential spending to the bone. Intentional adjustment, and created a crisis budget. Intentional planning. Having the fund and the process made a terrifying situation not easy, but manageable. It allowed her to focus her energy on finding a new job rather than drowning in debt and panic. That resilience, built on intentional habits, is what truly defines financial strength. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's easy to talk about being intentional when things are calm, but the real test is in the storm. Your emergency fund isn't just savings. It's stored up intentionality ready for deployment. Adjusting your budget isn't deprivation. It's intentional redirection of resources. Navigating calmly isn't luck. It's intentional control over your reaction. It's like knowing first aid. You hope you never need it, but having the knowledge and the kit, the emergency fund, is vital when you do. Here's a clear personal action for you right now. Think about a potential minor future financial setback that feels realistic, e.g., losing your phone, needing a small car repair, a minor medical bill under $500. How would you intentionally handle the cost? Write down the steps you would take. If you don't have an emergency fund, even a small one, what's the absolute first step to starting one? It could be as simple as committing to transferring $10 or $20 into a separate savings account this week. This one habit, thinking through hypothetical setbacks and taking any step towards preparedness, changed everything for me in building true financial resilience. All right, let's dive deep into the concept that truly flips the script on how you might view your finances. You know, often we talk about budgeting or tracking expenses, and the immediate reaction can be, restriction. I don't want to feel like I can't spend. But here's the powerful paradox, and it's the core concept for this section. Focusing on where your money goes with intention doesn't actually make you feel restricted at all. In fact, it makes you feel more abundant. Think about it. We've been talking about gaining control, about shifting your perspective. Intentionality is the engine of that control. Abundance isn't just this vague idea of having millions in the bank, although, hey, that's great too. True abundance, the kind that impacts your daily life and peace of mind, is having enough for what genuinely matters to you and, critically, feeling completely in control of those resources. It's like being the head chef in your own financial kitchen. You decide the ingredients, the recipe, and the outcome, rather than just eating whatever leftovers are mysteriously appearing and disappearing from the fridge. When you consciously direct your money towards your values and your goals, whether that's building that emergency fund, aggressively paying down debt, contributing to investments, or simply allocating funds for a guilt-free night out or a necessary purchase, you see tangible progress. You see the numbers move in the right direction. That visibility and forward momentum changes everything. It shifts your mindset fundamentally. Instead of the scarcity trap that says, "I don't have enough anyway, so I may as well just spend mindlessly," you move to an abundance mindset that declares, "I am actively directing my resources towards what truly matters to me," and that feels incredibly powerful. You realize you have agency. You aren't just a passenger on the financial bus, subject to whatever route it takes. You are the conductor of your own financial orchestra, carefully guiding each section to create a symphony of progress. Consider James, like the example we discussed. He used pure intentionality to save for a down payment on a small condo. It wasn't easy. It demanded discipline and cutting back in specific areas that didn't align with his goal. But here's the magic. Every time he saw that savings balance climb, sometimes even just a little bump, he didn't feel deprived of the things he didn't buy. He felt a surge of pride, anticipation, and deep satisfaction. He was actively building his future, brick by financial brick. And that feeling of conscious creation, of purposeful direction, was profoundly abundant for him. He wasn't just saving. He was manifesting his future home through deliberate financial choices. This brings us to a surprising insight, a real myth bust in the consumer-driven world. True financial abundance isn't some magical state where you never have to check price tags or think about cost. That's a fantasy often sold to you. The real abundance comes from having the clarity, the control, and the confidence to choose precisely where your money provides the most value, joy, and impact for you, regardless of what the latest trend is, what others are buying, or what marketers are screaming at you. It's the freedom to choose your focus. So, here's a simple, clear personal action for you right now. Try this for a week. Acknowledge and celebrate one small, intentional financial win that you've had recently. Did you stick to your grocery budget even with those tempting impulse buys lurking? Did you manage to avoid that online shopping spree you were considering? Did you successfully save the exact amount you intended for a specific goal? It doesn't have to be huge. The point is to pause, recognize, and genuinely celebrate that moment where you made a conscious, intentional decision with your money that aligned with your goals, not just random spending. Feel the power of that conscious choice. Acknowledge the conductor within. So, we've explored the incredible power of intentionality, of consciously directing your money towards your goals and values, rather than just letting it drift aimlessly on financial autopilot. We've seen how tracking reveals the raw reality of your spending, how budgeting provides the essential map to your financial destination, and how aligning your spending with your values ensures your money actively supports the life you actually want, not just the one you're passively living. We've touched on how this mindset of intentionality applies across the board, to earning more strategically, saving purposefully, investing with vision, and even tackling debt head-on, building essential financial resilience along the way. It's fundamentally about stepping up to be the CEO of your own finances, making deliberate, proactive choices, instead of feeling trapped, just reacting to whatever financial situation pops up. But what happens if you ignore this crucial lesson? If you choose to stay on financial autopilot, strapped into the passenger seat of your own money journey? Your money will definitely continue to flow, yes, because money always moves, but it will flow like a river without banks or a clear destination. It will meander aimlessly, often flowing right out of your account without you even noticing where it went. This constant, undirected drift will quietly erode your confidence over time, leaving you feeling perpetually behind, scrambling, and wondering why you just can't get ahead. It's like trying to fill a bucket with holes in the bottom. You can keep pouring money in, but it never feels full. You'll find yourself vulnerable to every financial gust of wind. Unexpected expenses that should be manageable feel absolutely catastrophic, sending you into a tailspin. Debt won't just feel like a burden. It will feel insurmountable, a crushing weight you can never escape. And achieving those significant goals you dream about, buying a home, securing a comfortable retirement, funding your kids' education, or even just having true peace of mind and financial breathing room will remain frustratingly out of reach, feeling like things that happen only to other people. You won't be living in the intentional, empowered earn flow zone. You'll be stuck, perhaps unknowingly, in the financial drift zone, where your money dictates your life instead of you directing your money. That persistent, low-grade feeling of anxiety whenever you think about your bank balance, the instinctive avoidance of opening your banking app or looking at bills, the perpetual mystery of where your hard-earned money vanishes to every month. That's the high, tangible cost of drifting. It costs you daily peace of mind. It costs you incredible opportunities you can't seize. And most significantly, it ultimately costs you the freedom and the power to build the life you truly desire and deserve. It's a high price to pay for inaction. Here's a powerful, perhaps surprising truth. Breaking free from the drift and choosing your flow doesn't require you to suddenly have a finance degree or receive a massive inheritance. It doesn't demand instant wealth. It requires something much more accessible, yet often overlooked. Simply attention and conscious choice. You already possess everything you genuinely need to start this transformation right now. First, your current financial reality, however messy or overwhelming it might feel in this moment, it's your honest starting point. And second, your own incredible brain, the capacity for deliberate thought and decision-making. The power to change the direction of your financial flow isn't some external magic. It resides entirely within you, waiting to be activated. It starts not with needing to have more money, but with choosing to be fiercely intentional and purposeful with the money you already have flowing through your life. Let's get practical, right here, right now. We talked about autopilot being easy because it requires zero conscious effort. Choosing intention requires a microdose of effort, a tiny spark of awareness applied consistently. This one simple shift, moving from passive reaction to active choice, practiced repeatedly, changed everything for me and for countless others. It transforms the feeling from financial dread to quiet empowerment. So, let's put this into action today, not tomorrow, not next week when things are less busy. Your clear, doable step right now is to choose one single micro-action to practice intentionality. Just one. Make it incredibly small. Make it achievable. Could be checking your bank balance, but this time doing it with a sense of calm curiosity and intention to understand, not dread or panic. Could be consciously tracking just the very next expense you make after watching this. Pull out a note in your phone or a scrap of paper and write it down, noting what it was for, a simple act of recognition. Could be looking at one single subscription you pay for automatically every month and deciding, intentionally, if it genuinely serves your goals or adds value to your life right now. Or perhaps the absolute simplest, Pick one single dollar you spend today, no matter how small the purchase is, maybe for a coffee, a snack, a parking meter, and consciously decide its purpose before you spend it. Just $1. Start tiny, but make that single dollar flow where you want it to go. This small act is the beginning of directing your flow. Do it today. Okay, take a breath. We've covered a lot in this journey, from mapping your money and aligning it with your values to confronting the real, often hidden cost of letting your finances simply drift. We've peeled back the layers on why staying on autopilot is so much more dangerous than it seems, and why even the tiniest, most seemingly insignificant intentional steps matter immensely. The core concept we keep circling back to, the anchor in the earn flow zone, is simple yet profoundly transformative: intentionality. It's the difference between feeling perpetually lost at sea and confidently charting your course towards a destination you've chosen. This conversation, these principles, are not just about numbers on a screen or mastering complicated spreadsheets. They are fundamentally about regaining control over a crucial, often stress-inducing part of your life. It's about replacing that knot of anxiety that tightens when you think about money with a quiet, growing confidence that comes from truly knowing where you stand and actively deciding where you're going. If there's one big takeaway, one principle to hold on to from today's dive, it's this: your financial future isn't a fixed destiny predetermined by your past mistakes or your current income level. It is a dynamic reality shaped moment by moment by the intentional choices you make today, right here, right now. That understanding, that realization of your power, is incredibly freeing. Think about the potential, the incredible long-term benefit of consistently choosing intentionality, starting with those tiny micro-actions we discussed just moments ago. Each conscious dollar decision you make, each time you choose awareness over autopilot, is like placing a single, sturdy stone to build the supportive banks of your financial river, giving it definition, direction, and harnessed power. Over time, consistently directing your flow means your money stops being a source of stress and starts working for you, becoming a powerful tool for building the life you desire. Not just for surviving. It means building genuine financial resilience so unexpected things don't completely derail your progress. It means steadily building momentum towards those big, audacious goals that currently feel like distant, maybe even impossible dreams. They start becoming tangible targets, achievable realities. It means, finally, cultivating true financial freedom and the peace of mind to live life fully on your terms, not dictated by overwhelming debt or constant financial anxiety. You start living, truly living in the earn flow zone. Here's a deeper insight about the connection between money, discipline, and personal growth. Our financial habits are often a profound mirror for our overall self-discipline and how we value and respect ourselves and our future. Welcome to today's historical deep dive, where we strip away the myths and walk in the footsteps of those who lived, breathed, and ultimately shaped the world you inhabit. You've never seen a toothbrush. You believe demons live in fog. Your town blames goats for the plague. Welcome to the Middle Ages. If you love immersive, real storytelling about survival, belief, and forgotten lives, hit like and subscribe. It helps more than you know. Ignoring your money is often a symptom of, or at least runs parallel to, ignoring yourself, neglecting your future well-being, and underestimating your own potential for change and growth. By choosing to pay attention, by making intentional choices, no matter how small or imperfect they feel at first. You're not just managing dollars and cents. You are actively valuing your future self, prioritizing your own peace of mind, and affirming your inherent ability to create the life you want. It's not just about accumulating wealth. It's a powerful, ongoing act of profound personal empowerment and self-respect. Drop a comment with the medieval fact that surprised you most, or what role you think you'd play if you were born in the year 1287. Let's begin and live the life they never got to finish. You wake, not to an alarm, but to the raw, insistent bleating of the sheep outside, a sound as integral to your existence as the beat of your own heart. The cough of your father rattles the pre-dawn quiet by the dying fire, a persistent reminder of the chill that seeps into the bones and the sickness that stalks the damp air. You're not just earning more money, you're earning more life, more freedom, more security, more peace, and more control. It all starts small, with that $1 you direct with intention, that one subscription you mindfully review, that one glance at your banking app done with curiosity instead of avoidance. But that small act, that single conscious choice, is a powerful declaration. To the universe, yes, but most importantly, to yourself. I am the CEO of my finances now. I choose my flow. Keep choosing it. Keep directing it. The dull, persistent ache in your belly is a familiar companion, a low hum beneath the surface of every thought. The straw beneath you is damp with night chill and the accumulated sweat and dirt of weeks, perhaps months. There is no laundry day. There is only the slow buildup of the earth you work and the life you live upon you. The single room of your hovel is a cave of shadows, the only light a faint gray seeping through the smoke hole in the thatch roof. A narrow window to a world waiting outside. Trust that the flow will respond to your intention, and you'll look back from a place of freedom and peace and see exactly how far that very first intentional step carried you. Remember this, carry it with you, and make it your guiding principle. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. You push yourself up, joints stiff, protesting the cold and the hard ground. Your hands, calloused and cracked despite your youth. For childhood here is fleeting, quickly giving way to the demands of the field. Fumble for the rough-spun tunic and breeches you slept in. There are no layers against the cold stone hearth, where last night's embers have long surrendered to the night air. Dust now, where warmth once lived. You shiver, pulling the rough wool tighter. The smell of wood smoke, damp earth, and unwashed bodies, a familiar, inescapable comfort. It is the smell of us, of survival, of home. This isn't just waking, it's re-entering a primal state of existence, a constant negotiation with the elements and the gnawing reality of scarcity, a dance with the wolf at the door. In this world, where the tolling of the church bells is the loudest sound besides the wind and the animals, every sunrise is a small victory, a challenge hurled back at the omnipresent threats of frost that kills the crops, famine that empties the belly, and illness that takes breath faster than any saint can intervene. Your immediate reality is entirely physical. The desperate need for warmth against the bone-deep cold. The urgent search for sustenance to quell the hunger pangs. The weary preparation for labor that will consume every ounce of energy the daylight hours provide. There is no abstract thought about the day's possibilities beyond simply enduring it. Only the immediate, tangible tasks required for survival. The concept of leisure is as alien as the stars during the day, hidden behind the sun's glare. Your body, strong from toil but fragile against disease, is your only tool. Your family, your only network, bound together by blood, shared hardship, and the grim understanding that you will live and die within paces of where you were born. The rhythm of the sun and seasons is your only clock, marking time not in hours or minutes, but in planting, growing, harvesting, and the long, hungry wait of winter. It makes you wonder about our own modern anxieties. We worry about deadlines and digital notifications, abstract pressures that live in our minds. They worried about simply making it to sunset, a physical, immediate fear. Was their fear more pure, more honest, or is the relentless, abstract pressure of our time just a different kind of soul-crushing weight, a modern plague? You rise because survival demands it, a biological imperative honed by centuries of hardship. And you know, deep in your bones, that countless generations before you, and hopefully a few after, will do the same, bound to the land and the cycle of need. Ask yourself, was it faith that saved them, or fear of what came after? The air hits your face, sharp, cold, carrying the scent of wood smoke, animal manure, and the distant, damp earth of the fields. Stepping outside is not just leaving the small, dark box of your hut. It is entering the shared, communal space of your village. The huddled collection of wattle and daub huts, each topped with thick thatch against the indifferent sky, seems to shrink under the vastness. The village track is not a path, but a churned, muddy ribbon, rutted by cartwheels, strewn with animal droppings and discarded refuse. There are no paved roads, no clean pathways separate from the dirt and the life it breeds. Everything is connected, messy, organic. Your neighbors are already stirring. A woman is at the communal well, the winch groaning as she hauls up a bucket, her face etched with the morning's chill. A man down the track is mending a fence with rough-cut branches, the thud of his hammer echoing slightly. Children are already playing amongst the chickens and pigs that wander freely, their squabbles and giggles rising into the air. There is no concept of personal space as we know it. Privacy? It is a luxury of the wealthy, or perhaps not even conceived of as a need. Your life is an open book, read by everyone who shares this small patch of land. This constant visibility fosters an intense, inescapable sense of community. But it is also a relentless social pressure, a cage built of watchful eyes. Gossip spreads faster than wildfire through dry thatch, consuming reputations in moments. Your standing, your honor, is fragile, built day by day on actions observed by all, judged by the collective standard. Every birth, every death, every marriage, every small transgression, a stolen apple, a sharp word to a neighbor, a late return from the fields, is not a private affair, but a village event, discussed, dissected, remembered. There is no anonymity here. This truth is a powerful, perhaps unsettling reminder that for most of human history, identity wasn't something you curated internally or presented selectively. It was something forged and policed by the immediate, ever-present gaze of your community. Think of our digital lives today, where we meticulously craft online personas, sharing carefully selected glimpses, while often remaining isolated behind our screens in real life. Were they more connected, truly? Or were they simply trapped together by sheer necessity, by the lack of any other option? The village is your world, your safety net against starvation and the wilderness. And yet, it is also your cage, binding you tighter than any physical chains. Was this constant scrutiny a heavy burden, or did it forge a resilience we have lost? Section 3. Title: The Lord's Land, Your Burden. Description: before you can even think of your own meager patch of land, you must answer the demands of the manor. The Lord's dimension stretches out, often the richest and best-tilled fields, and your labor, by custom and law, belongs partly to Him. You join the shuffling line of villagers heading towards the Lord's fields, carrying your simple tools, a heavy hoe, a wooden rake. The reeve, the Lord's overseer, a man, often barely better off than you, but wielding immense local power, barks orders.